You talked about your demographics, and there's something that I want to share with what I think your demographics are.
Okay.
In that, you asked about my upbringing, my household. I got to say that I was totally ill-prepared for what was expected of a man in a marriage. I totally missed having somebody teach me that as I grew up. And so I had to learn it the hard way. And I hope I pass it on to my sons now. I was very foolish in my relationship with Debbie. I had a temper that wasn't right, caused a lot of fights between us. If I had been better prepared and knew how to talk out my frustrations or whatever was going on rather than, blowing up.
That's such a great point right there, because I do think that it's certainly becoming a lot more common now that a lot of guys don't have positive and good relationships. And before in the past, it may have been some number of hundreds of thousands, but now we're probably in the realms of the tens of millions that have either negative or no relationships with their dads. So I think that's a really good point to bring up. For you, as you were going and this relationship was developing, what were some of the struggles as far as how you essentially had to be like, you know what, this girl knows a little thing and she's got some guys in her life that are good men that I can learn from?
I learned a lot from her dad. I think basically I learned it on my own as I went along. As I look back on it, there could have been a lot more better years. If I would have been in church, I would have had some church men behind me that I could turn to. The guys that I know now in our work groups and things that we do stuff with, I can talk to them. Mm-hmm. Whereas when I was first married, I had nobody I could talk to that I could bare my soul. If it hadn't have been for the love that Debbie had for me, I would have let my anger and frustration lead me away. But it was her love for me that was the glue that kept us together.
So I'm curious what each of your lives look like. As you had mentioned the church thing, were either of you in church more than the other person?
Growing up, I didn't go to church. Well, Mom did drop us off, which I didn't know anything about church. Dropped us off, picked us up. That's all I knew. And no, we didn't. And I didn't go to church like I go to church now.
Right.
Not any of that.
My parents made us go to Sunday school. I had some friends that were pretty strong in the church. It was Southern Baptist Church. Most of my friends were in the church, but they weren't really close friends.
But even though you had friends there, they weren't friends that you actually felt were people that you could express yourself to.
The culture had no culture that you could talk to your friends.
Right. Yeah. The culture then was much more of like kind of just eat whatever the world gave you and like don't cry about it so much and just like suck it up.
Well, men weren't supposed to cry, and men weren't, supposed to
talk about your problems,
or or showing emotion or anything like that.